Hey, how's it going? It's Grant with the Garden of Eater. And today we're going to be talking about is 500 tanks, 500 aquariums too many? And to get down to it shortly, right now, 500 tanks is a bit too much, and I'll get to it. But we've been doing quite a few shows lately, and there's been a couple of people that have come up to us with some concerns that, we're not producing a lot of content. There's not a lot of shrimp up on the website, um, and noted that we sold a bunch of tanks earlier on in the year as well. And basically, we've got a bunch of stuff going on. The biggest one being the baby, probably at the top of the list. We obviously knew that one was coming, planned ahead of time, and that really isn't the main reason on why we are so far behind. It's part of the reason. It definitely is. When I first had the first two kids, Jaden and Layla, I was busy doing landscaping, working 6 days a week. The seventh day of the week, I might even be doing maintenance and taking care of stuff business wise, one way or another. Still, I didn't have a lot of time to play with the kids when they were younger. And the time that I did have, I was so burnt out from the sun and beat down from all the hard work that I just didn't have the energy really to go ahead and play with the kids and whatnot. So I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I wanted to. And now in the position that we're in, when Myra was born, I was really looking forward to, taking some time. I even went ahead and made sure that the entire house, top to bottom, was, spotless. The tanks were all immaculate. Jimmy came the day that the baby was basically born and filmed the entire house, and all the glass was clean. All the water changes had been done within 2 weeks. And I knew basically that I could take 2 weeks off, not 2 weeks, 2 months off, not really have to do any of the water changes or anything like that, and just enjoy hanging out with the baby. And that definitely happened. I took maybe a little bit longer than that to worry about like the fronts of the glass and algae in some tanks and stuff like that. However, I was still doing water changes here and there, so they definitely didn't even go 2 months without water changes. But definitely, a lot of things around the house that I wanted to take care of. The RO system, plumbing all the wastewater to more ponds outside so we can breed more of the neocardinas outside and everything like that. That got all put on the backtrack. And then basically, when I had time to do it, or was like, all right, I need to get my butt into gear, I had all the issues with the RO unit, the booster pump, and everything like that. And then it just got way too hot for me to even want to do all that stuff. So I already kind of like said to myself, like, I don't really need to get all of that done. It's not, a necessity. It'd be nice to have it done. However, all the tubs on this side of the house that are already up and running, I could tweak those and get those running a lot better. I'll talk about more of those and an update on those later on, but I've got producing probably twice as many shrimp as we were getting out of them last year. So without, setting up double the tubs, we're still getting twice the breeding going on. So by tweaking and focusing on that a little bit, I was able to, basically in my mind say, all right, it's all right to put off the other side of the house and wait for that to be done up the later of the year. Or beginning of next year when it's still cold out in the winter months. Then another thing was Shelby's studio. I put that off until the summertime, and then of course the rain and everything like that. It's not really easy to work out there and get it all done. It's also brutally hot in our garage, so it's not really like a prime choice to have to go and set up aquariums and take photos. In another like 3 months, it'll be awesome to just go out there and work on the garage and take care of everything and fine tune everything and make a lot more space. But right now it's just too brutally hot. There's plenty of room to walk through the garage now, so I'm not rock climbing to turn on and off the lights in the garage. Jaden actually helped me out the other day, did a bunch of water changes and top offs in the garage. So we are caught up on that. However, talking about water changes, the biggest issue, and this one should have really been at the top of the list besides the baby, but the baby one was just kind of the most obvious one. But at the top of the list is water pressure. Right now, our county is working on moving a lot of people off of septic onto city sewage. They just set up a brand new facility in our town, and basically they're trying to utilize that a little bit more. And in like the next 5 years, a bunch of I don't know, blocks in our county will be all on city sewage. And what they're doing is like a massive upgrade on the entire water system. And we are just down in pressure so bad. On top of that, we've got a little spot in the front of our house. In the last 2-3 years, I would say it's sprung a leak 4 times, where, you know, it rains one day and all the ground is wet, and you can definitely tell that the ground is wet. But the next day, you know, there's no rain, but there's just still a wet spot running down the middle of our road. So a pipe underneath the road had bursted. Oh man, I got hopefully I wasn't muted for that long. Dang it. I need to be more caught up in chat so I can catch those things. But anyways, I'll just jump back up. The pipe leak that's in front of my house, I don't think that there's any intention for the county to go and fix that leak, because it just keeps on breaking. And eventually they're going to be going through here and replacing all of the pipe with brand new pipe anyways. So it's probably a slow enough leak that the county just doesn't care about. But it's like the leak that's directly into my water box for the house. So it's definitely affecting our water pressure on top of all of the rest of the county being redone. So I imagine like there's like a closed loop system for the water supply for the county, and I believe like it's not a closed loop system right now. So that way all the houses have plumbing, but the connection points on where they're replacing the pipe is blocked off. So I think a lot of people in my county are having the same issues. However, I'm more reliant on the water pressure because of the RO system. It really needs high water pressure in order to flow efficiently and get a good enough water so that I can do all my water changes. And right now, that's just not the case at all. I've talked with a couple other people, and they're like, "Yeah, I can't take a shower and run the laundry machine and do the dishes at the same time. There's just no water pressure at all." So usually, you know, we can do the water changes outside, have the RO unit running, and be taking a shower or doing the dishes or whatever we need to do, and we've got plenty of water pressure. But right now, on the RO unit, the water pressure is bouncing between 30 and 50, and it's not consistent or stable at all. And I know I need to go ahead and install a booster pump on it either way. But because the water pressure is fluctuating and stuff like that, I'm worried about the booster pump like burning out. And it's hot in the garage, and to figure it all out. And there's so many extra pieces and everything like that. So I've got to contact Jeremy at Aqua FX and take a bunch of photos and have them walk me through it. And I just haven't really found a straight solid day where I'm able to do that and have the garage door or garage exposed to the house and lose a bunch of AC because it's super hot right now in Florida. Nobody wants to hear that. Less than Shelby. She's been outside catching like 2,000 neocaridina shrimp today, and it's brutally hot outside. So she handles all the neocaridina outside. I handle all the caridina outside, and she was just basically bringing the neos inside, and I was prepping them and bagging them up and putting them into the boxes and shipped them off. But man, she caught a ton of shrimp. So on top of the water pressure, though, because they're working in the pipes, they're also treating the pipes with a lot of chlorine. One day we were doing a water change in the greenhouse, and Shelby was like, man, it really reeks of chlorine. And I was like, oh man, I just done a water change on one of the tubs out there. And I go and look in one of the tubs, and a lot of the shrimp were on their sides. So we've haven't even been doing like regular water changes on the tubs outside. Every day, Shelby's been going out there beforehand and watering like the plants and stuff like that, and can basically smell the chlorine and how bad it is. And today she even came and told me, hey, no water changes today on any of the tubs outside, or even run the RO unit, but I've got that big carbon block, and I need as much RO water as I can get for emergency water changes and topping everything off for this trip that we're about to do. But yeah, the water that we've had in the past, I was so lucky. It doesn't cost that much. Our water bill isn't that high. It's 170 to 180 total dissolved solids, and I always had good water pressure. I never really had an issue. And I would say since November, December of last year, we've been having this issue. So I was really hoping that it would be resolved by now, but they're still working on it around our county. So it's a little bit tough to deal with, but hopefully we'll come up with a solution or something like that in the future. But like our moss production is definitely down. Instead of me doing our massive 50% or more water changes, they've only been getting like 20 to 30% water changes. So we're definitely, a little low on moss, and the shrimp do a lot better the more water changes that you do, and the more water that you change out. So they're a little down. The numbers are a little down. However, Caridina sales overall across the board are down. There's so many people that are getting out of the hobby, breeders that are no longer doing it. There's just so many cheap ways of getting imported Caridina and even Neocaridina that there's just not a lot of market out there for people to start selling their own shrimp. So it's a little rough right now, but I think when the economy kind of picks up and people are able to spend more time in their aquariums and not having to work so much, we'll get some more Caridina breeders into the scene. So that's the water treatment and our water situation. Let me catch up on chat real quick. How's it going? Craig's Catfish Caves, 30 months. It's a little late to show that now. Aquarium Fantasy, I think you need more aquariums. I could definitely use more of certain types of aquariums, but we've got a couple of trips I'm going to talk about, and then I've got a plan to get everything back into gear, and I'll go over that as well. But I definitely have more aquariums that need to be set up. How's it going, Whip's World? Dr. Anthony, how are you doing? I saw something about your Elon is not doing well for me tonight. Starlink's going back and forth between on and off. Yeah, that's what I thought I saw earlier about your internet, but Nice to see you with us tonight. How's it going, Jonathan G? I don't know if I'm allowed to abbreviate that, if you're like that or not. Have you ever been have not been able to catch any of the Popeye shrimp this year in Peru? Water has been way too high. Oh man. I've been doing some interesting collecting lately. How's it going, Davo? Christy S. How's it going, Jeff Kane? J Dubs, how's it going? How's it going, Jesse? Just one more fish and Toop Dog. Greetings from Singapore. Getting ready for Benny Tay's visit as well. And so I don't know how you do 500 tanks. I'm at 50 and I'm flat out always. You do a lot of fish. So fish are a little bit more time consuming, I would say, than shrimp for sure. How's it going, Stephen P? If you're still here, we're looking to do maybe lunch or dinner on Wednesday, I think. Maybe breakfast, but still trying to figure out last minute logistics here. We got thrown a curveball last second, so we got to change up some things. How many tanks are you in control of right now, Benny? Do you have tanks at your house and at the store, or are they all at the store? Garcia Aquatics, how's it going? It's great seeing you, not only at the exotic plant and reptile expo as well as fish, but at the Space Coast swap meet as well. Always glad to see you there, and thank you once again for the squid that he got off of Will Nace's booth for Myra at the show. She really enjoys that thing. She's been playing with it a lot. How's it going, Jenna P? If you don't show the tanks, you're better off leaving green. What are you talking about? And then thank you, Toot Dog, Oats Aquatics, for the 5 gifted memberships. If one of you got those gifted memberships, please email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com. Send us your name, address, your YouTube name, and we will send you an all-exclusive holographic TGOE sticker, as well as a 10% off code to our website, tgoeshrimp.com. And then we've got some other stickers that we've been throwing in there as well. So just send us an email. I see Shelby's in the chat. And then we've got, are we getting a tour? No tour of the house. An update. You need a warehouse. A warehouse in the future would be nice. A nice AC'd warehouse. Craig says having a warehouse is great, but so is having it at home can get more done and being there all the time. I'm kind of envious of Lucas Bretz and his setup, right? He's got the barn, he's got the house. In my setup, I would like them to be a little bit closer. He's got a bit of a walk or a little golf cart ride to get to his barn from his house. However, having it detached and not a part of the house would definitely be nice. And then, it's doable, I think, to get 1,000 tanks maybe in Lucas's barn because he's got a lot of bigger tanks, but I don't know if that's big enough. He's going to build on and stuff like that too, so that'll be cool. But yeah, having it a little bit closer than Lucas's, that would be great. How's it going, Larry D? Nice to have you with us tonight. I have no idea if the top member is a thing or what it actually is. Must be new. If you haven't realized it. Craig says it's been up for a few weeks. All right. This is where I was muted. So Hopefully it wasn't for too long. Yeah, and you get a little behind, and it just starts to snowball. It's one thing after another. You go to get something done, and it doesn't work, or parts are missing, and it's just every little thing that we've really tried to buckle down and get going. It's just been one problem after another. So, and no, we're not paying for this water leak. It's before it gets to my box, so it's not part of my um, water counter. I don't know what I would call that. There's so much hair right here. Jesus. All right. Yeah, I've got a pressure pump, but I got one that's like more advanced than I am. So I've got to figure it out still. Use one of your totes and get some Seachem safe. Pre-treat the water and pump it. For water change, that is what I do for. Yeah, that's definitely something that um, I might have to do in a pinch, but um, it it's been all right for me just to wait a little bit because I've been actually doing the water changes outside way more than usual. I've been able to do them in half a day now instead of taking me like 3 days to get it done. So if the water kind of smells good and we've got the prime already dosed in the aquarium, we haven't had any losses except for the one day where we weren't really aware of the extremely high doses of chlorine, but we've been checking to make sure of it now. So it probably was a shrimp that was struggling with molting and it got forced into a molt probably and had an issue there. Um, it it might not be the water's fault. You might want to check into the diet and make sure you got a nice, good mineral food like shrimp envy shell into the diet to make sure they can molt when they go through their water changes. Also, if you're not used to doing, regular water changes and you do a 20% water change out of nowhere, it's definitely gonna make a lot of shrimp molt before they're supposed to. How's it going, Skipper? Nice to see you. Johnny Best with the gifted membership. Appreciate that. If you're that lucky person to get the gifted membership, please email us at the Garden of Eater with your name and info so we can get you the holographic sticker and 10% off code to our website, tgoeshrimp.com. It might be an early lunch. I'm not quite sure. I've got to plan things out. It depends on what time we leave tomorrow and where exactly we're going to stay. It might be a breakfast thing, actually. I'm not sure. I will have to figure it all out. I guess I'll just talk about that real quick since you're here. I'm doing a trip to Colorado to speak on the 1st for the Colorado Aquarium Society in Denver. And then that is on the 1st. On the 2nd, we are headed towards Indiana to go see Shelby's mom. That's been another issue this year, mainly just stress and lack of sleep for Shelby, worrying about her mom, dealing with some heart issues, and a bunch of other things on top of that. She's been in and out of the ICU all year, and she hasn't gotten to see Myra since I basically left for the Keystone Clash. So we're going to go ahead and take Myra, take the whole kids with us to go basically spend a couple days with her mom and then head on back. But we had a 7-passenger minivan rented, and then got a phone call on Saturday saying that it was canceled because of recalls. It's a nationwide recall, and our rental car is no longer available, and they didn't really have an option to replace it with, except for a Chevy Equinox. And we already have a Chevy Equinox. So it's like, why am I going to rent a car if that's the best you can do, without buying something that's going to be an extra like $400, not just in the rental itself, but an extra $200-$400 in gas on top of that. So we're probably just going to drive our Chevy Equinox, and instead of like trading on and off through the night, we're just going to get an extra day or two of hotels and crash through the night and spread the driving out. So it's more of like a family road trip and less like a grind to go and get to the show and get it done as soon as possible. So we're basically changing it up, where we were going to leave first thing Wednesday morning. We might just prep tomorrow and head out and see how far we can get, and then stay in a hotel tomorrow night on our way to Colorado. But if we could see you, it'd be great. I know you guys work and you've got the kids are either about to go to school or they're already in school, just starting. I'm not sure. Everybody's different, but man, it would be great if we could have planned it out better, done a little tour of your tanks in the fish room. So, and then Benny says he's got 17 tanks at home and 100 at the other location. So is that at the other location, meaning like other than the store? Do you have more tanks than that at the store, or is the other location the store? You guys going back down south anytime soon? So our next plan to go down south is in October for the Coral Springs show. It is Aquapalooza, I think it is. No, Aqua Expo. And that is our next plan. If we go do like a collecting or something else like that out of the blue, we don't have anything in plan. I'd like to go see Richard's house on that trip. I'd like to go see Daku's house and maybe one more. I can't remember now. How's it going, Nano? With all that empty land Lucas have, you can build a house in his backyard. Lucas likes his peace and quiet. He'd get annoyed at me real quick. Shelby can barely tolerate me. That's a question for Benny. Grant, I forgot my code for buying on the website. You will have to send an email, and Shelby will have to pull that up for you. And then Red Zeppelin said, "Thank you. I believe you're absolutely right. With the one shrimp that passed away during water change. Yeah, brand new shrimp owner. You're gonna want to get into a steady rhythm and a set routine on doing your water changes. And it's like survival of the fittest. You might lose a shrimp or two here or there. However, that is your best chance at having babies and getting the genetics to get used to your water. And each generation of babies that you have, they'll just breed more and grow faster in your water parameters. So this first batch that you got are just adapting to your system and getting used to things. And then each generation after will be stronger and stronger, faster and faster. If it's breakfast or lunch, unfortunately, we can't make it. Workday and kids back-to-back school stuff going on. Yeah, it might be unfortunate then. And it'll only be a one-way trip this time because we were planning on going up through New Mexico into Colorado. Will Sokoto of the Shrimp Tank and the person that started the Shrimp Spot, the forum that's no longer active. However, he's got a farm with llamas or alpacas, one of the two, and a bunch of other cool critters. And then on top of that, I'll get to see a shrimp setup, hang out with him. and whatnot. So really looking forward to that. And then we'll head on into Colorado, but then we'll head out towards Indiana on the way home, and it'll probably take us home through like Tennessee and whatnot. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I stop and have some ice cream with Chattanooga Ed for once. Last time I thought about it and didn't do it, we got a flat tire. So this time, if it's even like a thought in my mind, I'm going to message him to go get some ice cream. Dr. Anthony will be home in 10 days. That's great to hear. How's it going, Phil? Nice to see you. And Richard, yes, it is Aqua Expo. And Benny says the other store is the other location is the store or his passionate hobbyist room, which is a great way of putting it. All right, I'm all caught up on chat, and we'll get back to it. So, traveling has been a big one. I just talked about the trip to Colorado. We get back from the trip from Colorado. I've got some time to get the house in order for Benny Tay. And then we pick Benny Tay up on a Friday. His talk is on a Saturday. I drop him off on a Saturday, and that's got to be the 10th at the airport because he flies back right after his talk back to Singapore. And then on Sunday, I head back to the airport with Shelby and Myra, and we're heading to Vegas. We're going to be scaping tanks for Fluval at Super Zoo, and they're that's one of the best shows. The food in Vegas is incredible, and there's just so much going on. There was a lot of like different vendors and a lot of different companies that were at Super Zoo that we've never seen before or really got to talk to or interact because they're on that side of the country. And they don't do all the shows that are over on this side. And last year, because Lucas was fighting Joey DIY, after we were done setting up the tanks for Fluval, we pretty much got onto an airplane and flew back home. Picked up the kids, and Lucas got in the van and drove to Jersey to go fight Joey DIY, right? This year, we're taking an extra day so we can go walk the show, check things out. Last year, her aunt took us to Red Rocks, so maybe we can go to Red Rocks early that morning, do some hiking and some exploring, and then go to the show afterwards, get a good meal after the show, and then catch a flight home. But I'm really looking forward to Vegas because this time also Shelby's not pregnant, so we'll have the baby. Last time I was just so worried about Shelby walking around with the baby at 8 months old, 8 months pregnant, and this time I won't be so worried as much. It's also our second time going there, so I'll know right away. Taxi, but we've got to figure out flying with the stroller and the car seat and stuff like that. So we've got some figuring out to do, but those are just the trips that we've got coming up. This past week, the reason why we didn't do the live stream last week was it was Layla's birthday. We did the show in West Palm Beach. It was mainly a reptile and plant expo. However, Ryan from Wild Fish Tanks was there. Myself was there. Leah's Small Tanks and a couple other places were also there selling freshwater fish and plants and other stuff like that as well. So it wasn't so much just a reptile expo. There's actually a ton of exotic and rare plant vendors. So it was a little bit different. Layla got to interact with the sloth, feed it, and pet it for like almost an hour. The first day of the show, VIP took some time to kind of like fill things out before people figured out about the sloth and stuff like that. A lot of the VIP people, they want to figure out what's there, what's on the sales for VIP people and stuff like that, but get all the rare stuff before somebody else snipes it. So before anybody else made it over to the sloth cage, Layla pretty much got like an entire hour with the sloth. And I was chatting with a guy and, talking about, this is her favorite animal. Of course, this is what she wants and how many aquariums and what we keep here. He saw that I had the vendor badge on and was asking me what I do and whatnot. So she really enjoyed that. He also had 2 kangaroos. So the next day she held the kangaroos. Iguanaland had a booth there with a nice sized caiman lizard. And she got to hold the caiman lizard. Jaden got to hold the snake. And then Will Nace had an owl that needed cataract surgery. It was blind. It's a rescue owl. And they were taking donations to hold the owl. So Layla and Jaden both did that as well. And they really got, a good interaction with a bunch of different critters there. Geckos and other snakes and whatnot throughout the show too. There was a little tiny fox and a skunk there that they got to pet, like, because it was right across from us the entire time. And then it being her birthday the next day, we left it up to her if she wanted to do the live stream or not. And she's like, I'll let you guys decide. And that's just a really nice way of putting it. Like, I don't really want to do the live stream, Dad, but if you want to do the live stream, we can do the live stream. So I opted out of doing the live stream, and we went to the beach. We actually did better than I expected to do at the reptile show. And we had planned on, if we did well at the show, that we were going to stay an extra night at the hotel, get one on the beach, so that way we could spend a day at the beach. And it ended up being a really nice beach. We caught a bunch of different critters there. Shelby made a video about it already. And then also caught a stingray barehanded. I have a short video that went out today on that Shelby put together. It's a really good video. Highly recommend you go check that one out. And then the video that she posted yesterday was of another beach, because we stayed an extra night at the hotel, but we wanted to try and go chase down some waves. So we went further up the coast north, and we hit like 3 different other beaches. And then we ended up stopping at Blowing Rocks Beach, where I was able to catch a lionfish, a blemmy, French angel, and then some high hats, and again, more shrimp, bunch of crabs, other little critters and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. First time collecting an invasive saltwater species. Don't worry, I did take care of it. And someone was like, "Oh, throw it in the sand." And I was like, "No, I didn't throw it in the sand for somebody to step on. I threw it way up into the dunes, into the tall grass reeds. So, maybe something will devour it. Probably fire ants in the future. But yeah, I didn't want that to mass produce on that reef. I didn't even see it. Caught it in a dip net trying to catch the French angelfish. Caught that at the same time. I didn't know it was a French angelfish until afterwards, and my buddy's like, "Yeah, that's a French angelfish. You're not allowed to catch those until they're a certain size." So yeah, we weren't planning on keeping anything anyways. That was all in the tank for about 5 minutes before we tossed it back, and had to put it in the tank just to get a visual to ID it in the first place. Anyways, so this year, though, we've done more shows, I think, than any other year so far. I mean, up until this date, right? Because we're almost to August. Still have 2 more Aquashellos to go. The Keystone Clash, um, the Aqua Expo, the Southern Aquatic Expo. Oh man, I'm sure I'm missing another one, but we've just done so many shows already this year. I feel like I've stayed in a hotel more than I've slept in my own bed, and of course, all that traveling just takes up some time. When I set up all the aquariums in Shelby's room, I was like bragging about how I'm going to get all my tank space back, and pretty much all of the tanks that had fish in it are pretty much untouched. I haven't put any shrimp in them yet. A lot of them I want to go through and like hit with some corrosive hydrogen peroxide and nuke all of the little Cladophora spores that are in there and restart it. Maybe throw in some fresh aqua soil in some of them. And I just haven't gotten to any of it. And a lot of that to do is with all of this traveling, right? I get home from traveling, I make sure the house is good and everything's fed, everything's topped off. I get started with whatever water changes I can get done with the amount of time that I have. And then before you know it, we're already planning on packing and getting ready for another show. So we did have, some pockets of like 2 to 3 weeks where we weren't really traveling and doing shows, but I had talks. I had my own speaker obligations. I'm not like the president of the Pasco Aquarium Society, but I am the speaker chair, and I am in charge of getting the speakers every single month and filling it out. I don't have to worry about April and September because those are auction and swap meet months. However, the rest of the year, I got to make sure that I'm getting speakers, and I got to change them up from the speakers that are going to other clubs here locally. On top of our club, we've got the Tampa Bay Club, the Fort Myers Club, the Space Coast Club, the Venice Beach Club, the Gold Coast Club. There's Achilles Club, there's a Guppy Club, and there's a Pinellas Club that's getting started. So there's a lot of clubs in Florida, and I try to pull speakers from across the country, from different sides, different parts of the hobby. Try to get experts in their field. Like last month, we had Diana Walstead, and I had to pick her up early from the airport on Friday. And believe me, I'm not complaining about this. This is stuff I want to do. It just takes up time from everything else in the 500 aquariums. But I've been trying to get Diana Walstead to come speak for our club for like 2 whole years. So when I'm telling her for 2 years, like, listen, I'll take you out. I'll show you our springs. I'll show you our rivers, whatever you want to see. I'll take you to the room, the shrimp room, the house, whatever you want to call it. Show you all the tanks, show you all the ponds out back, take you to the club, take you out to dinner, and then, pick you up from the airport, drop you off, make sure all your travels are all taken care of. And finally, she is comfortable at how old she is traveling and figuring all that out. It made it a lot better for her that I was picking her up from the airport. And I don't usually do this, but I even went and met her at the terminal to help her get all of her bags and everything like that. She had even brought a box of books so she can sign them and sell them at the club meeting, and all this. So it was pretty much 3 days of my time were taken up just for the speaker. Benny's still on the screen. It'll be Friday and Saturday in a couple of weeks for him. And again, Benny's a good friend of mine. He's in the shrimp hobby. He's from across the other side of the world. I want to do this kind of thing. So that, of course, takes away from my other projects and the aquascaping and stuff like that I consider, a hobby and collecting and whatnot. But I'd much rather go hang out with Benny than do all of those other things, right? So none of this is complaining. I am simply just explaining, hey, we might not be selling as much livestock. We might not be, and believe me, we're still selling as much livestock as we are last year, but it's a lot more red neocardinas than usual, a lot more yellows and blues and neos than it is caridina, especially like the tiger shrimp. Sales on those have fallen back. We just put tangerine tigers back on the website. Neither me nor Shelby realized that those were not on the website. They weren't really selling that well, but we've been bringing them to so many shows that they're selling at the shows because you can explain to people in person the Shelby or G'dayids are spawning, going back and forth. They're dancing. But when you explain to somebody in person that they keep shrimp, but they're not really a part of the YouTube scene, they're not really on Facebook that much, to know that you can keep tangerine tigers and neocardinas in the same parameters, and they can't crossbreed and make the wild, so you can get two colors. That's a huge sale point, and they're cheap. We've got a bunch of raccoons. Raccoons are breeding like crazy, but they're like twice the amount of money as the tangerine tigers are. So all this stuff is just taking up time. Last year I was really happy with the fact that I got all the aquariums done, finished, and I didn't have to worry about building. I can just worry about fine tuning things. And a lot of that is good for culling and going down to the bare bone on stock. Sales, we had record sales for November, December, January, and February of this past months. And those are better sales than we've ever had of any other year, even COVID year, where we had, our record breaking year for sales, as a lot of people did. There was a lot of people home with extra stimulus money and stuff like that. So it's hard to beat those numbers. And we were able to do that for 4 months in a row. And that was kind of, depleting on a lot of our stock. But I was like, I want to do this because it's helping me keep up on culling. It's helping me keep up on quality of the stock. On top of that, I don't have a lot of time with the baby and everything going on. So, with especially the sales in November and December, I was like, let me sell them off so I don't have to worry about feeding more and worry about traveling and stuff like that with more heads in each tank. So I was perfectly fine with selling as many shrimp as we did. Shelby's like, we don't have that many shrimp in the house. And I was like, you know what? Caridina sales weren't that well anyways. So if I go down to like my best 10 Galaxy Pintos in that tank, I'm perfectly fine with it, because at the end of that, I'll get even better generations of babies moving forward. So we've gone through, we've done that, and a lot of the throughout a lot of the house, I've got a lot of tanks that I'm going to split and spread out so that there's more shrimp in the house for when Benny comes and checks things out. A lot of my orange-eyed projects, especially, but I'll have time to do that after Vegas. Yeah, I feel you. I stay out of town a lot Monday through Friday. It makes it very difficult to keep on top of the 25 tanks. It's very tiring, and I need some motivation. Motivation is also very few and far between on working on the shrimp hobby for me right now, and doing YouTube and videos and stuff like that. Beginning of last year, we saw this rise in subscribers and viewers and all that, and we're like, let's run with this. Let's put as much fire underneath the as much kindling and wood as we can underneath the fire to keep it going. And it's like the more we worked on it, it just died out. And that kind of just it's a little mind numbing, right? Shelby's put in so much work on a lot of the shorts, and some of her best work, it just gets like hardly any attention. And it's like, what how does that make sense? So the motivation there, yeah, it can be hard to find sometimes. And when you're making so much money off the neocardinas, doing stuff inside. This is something me and Shelby even talked about is, do we keep doing all this and, get rid of it and just focus and do more tubs outside and just do more wholesale? The amount of pet stores that are reaching out to us and online stores that are trying to get shrimp is kind of ridiculous. And the amount of effort that I put into these Caridina tanks, I could do triple the amount of tanks outside, maybe even more than that. But at the end of the day, the Caridina tanks and crossbreeding and the genetics and everything inside, if I don't make money off of any of this, that's fine. This is all for me. So at the end of the day, the Caridina tanks and the 500 aquariums, they're kind of here to stay, just because I want to be able to play with the genetics. I still want to make new varieties. I might not have as much time to get as many generations as I wanted to crank out this year. However, the baby's getting to a point where she's starting to eat foods. We're going to have more of these opportunities coming forward to get a lot more stuff done and get back into a routine come winter time. And, if the water situation gets under control, then I won't be at the mercy of the pressure of the county, and I'll be able to just flip a switch, get 500 gallons of water in 24 hours or 250 in 12 hours and be able to do my 50 tanks a day and crank through them, no problem. I also want to get, the scraper for each one of the aquariums for the glass. So it's not a difficult task at all to go through the house and have clean glass, and right behind cleaning the glass, I would do the water changes. So it's going to keep the water cleaner as well. I'm really looking forward to that. However, I had saved up a bunch of money to go ahead and do that. However, our dog Thea has not been doing really well this year. For a while now, we've thought she's on her last days. We didn't think she was going to make it through 4th of July. We didn't think that, I honestly didn't think she was going to live through Shelby's birthday because people were already starting to light off fireworks for like 10 days prior to 4th of July. We were also getting severe thunderstorms, and she doesn't do good with loud noises. It's kind of weird. Like, shrimp has no hearing, and I think Thea got all the shrimp's hearing, and it's just magnified because any loud noises, that dog is set to alert mode and is, in full panic when she hears explosions and stuff like that. So when she's already on medication for her cancer and her tumors and stuff like that, we couldn't do any of the Benadryl and stuff like that we kind of try to do to knock her out. So the 5th of July, waking up, she didn't look good for a couple of days. I was looking into reaching out to our vet to make sure, that we could bring her there to get her euthanized, since they've been working with her for this whole time anyways. And Shelby's comfortable with them. They're people we know. So I wanted to make sure that was something they offered. And then she kind of did like a little 360, right? People were not lighting off fireworks anymore. We were still getting thunderstorms, but I think she was used to that. And then by the time Diana Wallstead came around, she was actually looking really good. And Diana Wallstead was like a little worried about coming because my communication back and forth in emails wasn't the best. And I explained to her, like, we got a lot going on right now. One day I went to go email her and something else came up, and I just totally forgot to go back to it, right? And so I explained to her everything that was going on with the dog, and so she was aware. And she brought it up on the way home, like, "Oh, did you have to put down your dog?" And I was like, "No, you'll see her," because she completely bounced back before her visit, and she was feeding her apple and stuff like that, and Thea was just loving her. And these last few days have been rough. She's not been looking too good. We were gonna stay in a hotel Saturday night and stay at Melbourne Beach because the Space Coast Club had a swap meet, and it's in Melbourne Beach, and we were chasing waves through West Palm and didn't catch any waves, so that's why we did the collecting. But we did a good amount of surfing on the waves that we did catch in Melbourne, but we didn't stay in a hotel. I didn't even sign up for that show until last minute because I was like, I don't know how Thea's gonna do to make that trip or whatnot. And the last 2 days she's not looked very good. So hopefully she's holds through, but there isn't any getting better through this. The doctor basically said it's just a matter of time, right? So that situation's only going to get worse, sadly. And it's not your usual like, oh, my dog's going down and I have to, take care of that when the time comes or whatever. She's got some issues. She's needs to be cleaned up after all the time. So it's a lot more work that we've been dealing with on top of the baby. It's sad more than it is hard to deal with, but it's time consuming. How's it going, Night Owl? How's it going, Dee Dee? Did I say hi, Dee Dee? I'm sorry if I didn't, or if I already did. How's it going, Billy? Hey, bro. Thanks again for the blue jellies and the Crypticone Parva on Saturday. Hope everything's doing great. Oh, you just said everything's doing great. I should have just read the end of it. Yeah, it was nice to see you. Happy you were able to walk away with some goodies. I saw you had one of those swing things walking out too. Those were pretty cool. I'm surprised the girls didn't ask me for one of those. So vacations, even though we had the time and whatnot, we kind of took the little advantage that we could for Layla's birthday. Stayed at the hotel, but these little trips and stuff, when we go out and we do trips and shows, we try to take like an extra day if we can and whatnot. And a lot of times, the more time you're away from the house, the more catch up there is when you get home. And what a lot of people don't realize is when we go away on shows, we're usually shipping on Saturdays. And when we go away on shows, we usually don't ship out that Saturday, right? Because we're traveling. So when we get home, we might take like a day. It depends if we drove through the night or what it is. If we drove through the night and we get home, say 7 a.m., 4 a.m., even in the morning here on Florida on a Monday, we're probably not shipping out on Monday, right? Probably catching up on sleep, making sure that all the critters that we traveled with get back into their homes first and foremost. Those are always the most important thing to take care of. And then on top of that, we do the whole walk through the house. I make sure all the I'm always so paranoid of the turtles. This is the first thing I take care of and check on when I come home. I pop open the double doors to the back. I make sure that the water's still moving and whatnot. So the first day we usually get back is just like, let's recuperate and take care of the living things that are in our possession, right? And then on Tuesday, we'll go ahead and we'll ship out, and it'll be a completely full packed day of shipping, because usually we ship out on Monday regardless. So we still have to catch up on Monday's orders plus the Saturday orders that we didn't ship out on top of that. We've got to get all caught up, depacked and repacked and everything like that too. So it usually takes us, 4 or 5 days once we get back from a show to get all the way caught back up to where, all right, things are a little bit back to normal. But it just takes up a lot of time beforehand too. It's usually 3 days worth of packing for like an Aquashella. Some of the smaller shows we can do like all the moss and dry goods on one day, and then all the shrimp, isopods, snails on another day, and then head for the show. But sometimes like the shrimp contest and everything like that, It's definitely more time consuming getting ready for another day, printing out judges sheets and stuff like that. Um, and ocean blues, I believe, are derived from blue diamond shrimp. And basically, over time, the breeder just selected bred the nicest blues over and over, and was really strict and resilient on strict and relentless on culling out all the ugly ones, so that way only the beautiful shrimp produced each generation. So like out of 1,000 shrimp, Shelby's finding like one that's so ugly it's almost like a wild. There isn't like any in betweens. There's a couple of them that were like splotchy, that were a little black in coloration that were very similar to um, blue diamonds, and that's why I believe they come from blue diamonds. Um, so we've got the newts, the chameleons, and the geckos. The chameleon, Layla's chameleon. I love that girl to death. But I'm taking care of the chameleon more than she is. I've got a lot of experience breeding and taking care of the chameleon, so I've already got it like in my back in my mind. Like every time I walk through the house, go spray the cage, go spray the cage, hit the cage. We're feeding every other day, getting worms from the reptile show and everything like that. But we haven't gotten another chameleon because I'm doing all the work. Layla's not. She does, remind me when she's out of crickets, when she's out of water, but it's not enough. It's not all the time. I'm still catching her. She does a great job on waking up every morning, on spraying the chameleon and going to bed and spraying it. But um, all the other things that are required of taking care of the chameleon, like the food, handling the crickets and stuff like that, she's not doing herself yet. So um, it's not a lot of time, but between that, the chameleon, feeding the newts. For a while, I was trying to breed out the newts. I lost leucistic newts for whatever reason, other than when we had gone to, was the Pennsylvania trip. Can't remember what trip it was, but our power went out. Not power. Oh man, our AC went out, and all it was is the float valve. The pan was full. Once a year, I go through and I blast out the pipe and I hit it with some white vinegar, and it just so happened to happen like early on in the year, like earlier than it normally does when I take care of it. And we ended up coming home and everything was fine. But then the next day, I lost the female. The next day, I lost the male, and the male looked like completely fine. The female just looked like she was kind of molting, which they had done before in the past too. So I think it got too hot for them. And on top of that, maybe it was the breeding kind of stressed her out and weakened her immune system. So I put all of the newts into separate enclosures. I still have the regular Spanish rib newts, but I'm not trying to breed. I'm not trying to do the baby brine shrimp and stuff like that for them at the moment. It's just there's just way too much time that goes into those that I'm trying to spend taking care of the aquariums or hanging out and spending time with the kids. Um, the plant bins outside, I've done very little propagation this year and growing those out. The rain has been great this year. I had to add a sprinkler in the beginning of the year to try to make sure everything stayed nice and wet. But that was like a project more that me and Layla were doing together. And now it's hard for like both of us to really get out there. It's too hot out there to really want to work out there also. But she's been busy with her friends, and she's now at that age where she's on the phone and talking to her friends and playing games and whatnot. So she's a lot busier these days. But I don't know if she shipped. I saw frogs fishing more. How you doing? I'm not sure if she has shipped out your print yet or not, but it is definitely finished. She's been doing some artwork and stuff like that too, still, but we haven't been working in the plant bins. I haven't been breeding out the rice fish. They've been basically just stagnant mosquito control. I haven't been moving them around like I used to. I was like every 2 weeks tossing them from one bin to another one, and making sure that there was an ample amount of food in each one of the bins for the babies and everything like that. But um, how's it going, Papa Shrimp? Man, I feel like I had messaged you to do something, or I thought about messaging you to do something, and I've just been so busy. I want to try and do it not next week, but the following week to have you come up here and talk on shrimp. It's just, man, I fumbled that one too, huh? So much going on. Also, we were planning on having Shelby step down from her job at West Marine, doing this full time, but instead, she took on a job working for Pisces. I never even messaged you. That's crazy. Must have had a dream where I had planned out an entire situation with you, Papa Shrimp. We'll have to get that situated here one day. Nice haircut, by the way. Um, but she is, spending some time here and there. Oh, and congratulations on the new job, man. I forgot all about that one too. Um, but uh, the time that she's spending on Pisces, the time that she's spending with the baby. I'm lucky enough that she does all the neocardinas on shipping day. She's handling all of the video edits and everything like that. So to get her help around the house on doing water changes and stuff like that would just be insane. She hasn't had time to do new hats or anything like that. We've got like a new food that we've already tested and we're working with the Bloomfields on. We've got to get a label, come up with that one and get that on the market. But it's like we started to like try to do all these extra random things, and we just realized we need to buckle down and focus on what needs our time, and then we'll have enough time later on for the rest of the things. So it's been one thing after another, and it really has. A couple weeks ago, I found out my mom needs a pretty severe surgery that happens on the 13th of August. So hopefully that all goes smooth, but I am really worried about her. It's been really tough. It seems like Shelby's mom, my mom, Thea, everything else that's going on mentally has been really draining. Physically, the baby, the dog, everything else, it's been a lot. It really has. So 500 tanks, it's a lot, but if I didn't have everything else that was on the plate on top of it, it would just be a dream. It would be a breeze. I wouldn't be dealing with nothing other than mass producing a crap load of designer shrimp of different morphs and stuff like that. So right now, there's a couple of tanks that are empty. There's a couple of an empty. I mean, like there's just no shrimp in them. But they're still growing out moss. They're still doing really well. They're getting their water changes and whatnot, but people are wondering why we're not producing videos and stuff like that. So thought maybe since we missed a live stream, that's why maybe more people were reaching out than most. That was really more to do with Layla's birthday, and definitely mental break at the beach. Trust me, I was fried on Saturday. Maybe we spent maybe 30 minutes at the beach or something like that. And then no, maybe it was Sunday. We spent like 30 minutes at the beach. But on Monday, we spent like the entire day at the beach. And afterwards, we were done. And I looked at Layla and Jaden and Shelby, and I was like, you know what? I might not be able to make it to another day at the beach. I know we stayed 2 nights in the hotel here, but I might just be trying to recuperate tomorrow in the hotel while you guys go down to the beach by yourself, right? Um, Woke up the next day. We went down to the little beach by us, but no surf again. So we wanted to go chase some waves. So we went up the coast. We made it to a beach. We decided, all right, there's not going to be any waves, but this is a really nice beach. Myra had just fallen asleep. So I was like, you know what? Why don't you go ahead, take I was talking to Shelby. I was like, why don't you take Jaden and Layla to the beach? You guys go enjoy it. Myra just fell asleep. I'm going to just snooze in the car, relax, stay out of the sun, because I only have a set amount of time that I'm going to be able to make it under the sun with my ginger self and be able to survive another day, right? So you guys go on without me. I'll catch up, and you guys will be able to spend more time at the beach. So they spent 2 hours there, maybe tops. The kids tried to catch shrimp and all this other stuff and weren't able to really catch anything. And they told me I had to come down there and catch all the stuff for Shelby's tank. So I went ahead and when Myra woke up, got her ready for the beach, walked down to the beach, and passed her off to Shelby. I went ahead and took the net, and I caught a blemmy within like 30 seconds. And then the next trip, I had already mentioned this before, but man, I know I had but I was completely at the end of that day. After all the collecting, I had gone out there and I stayed out even longer than I should have. And I was completely toast. Like I don't think I've been that sunburnt in a while, with SPF 100 sunscreen and everything like that too. So it was a really good time, though. We haven't spent like a family day, especially on that side of the coast, at the beach in a while. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely got to take a little mental reset at the beach and relax and whatnot. So surfing the waves and whatnot brought me back to my childhood. So it was all great. And the kids, by the end of the day, ended up catching on and getting the grip of it. And at the end, in the beginning, Layla couldn't stay on the boogie board. And at the end, she was riding pretty much every single wave that was good enough to ride. So how's it going, Martin? Nice to see you. So did we collect anything that we kept at the beach? I did keep some of the shrimp. We ended up catching about 4 or 5 types of what I would consider dwarf saltwater shrimp. And I say dwarf as in like smaller than an inch. So not nearly the size of like an amano or a prawn or something like that. However, these shrimp were very similar, some of them to opaula. There was some that were straight yellow with yellow eyes. There were some that were like pretty much clear, no color at all, like a ghost shrimp. There were some that were straight green. There was some that were like a red and black kind of like band, kind of like a harlequin silhouette shrimp. And then there's some that I thought they might have been like similar to a camel shrimp or something like that. But all of them were probably full size because they had berries or they were holding eggs. And so I thought they would do great in our saltwater macroalgae pond that we have outside. So I've been checking in on them at nighttime with the flashlight. And for a while, I hadn't seen the sea cucumber. And I was worried that the sea cucumber had succumbed and was no longer with us. But the sea cucumber was out. The sea urchin was out. So I still got good life going on, a good little ecosystem. And I got some shrimp still swimming around too. I didn't see all the varieties and whatnot, but I whipped up some new fresh, oh man, brackish water for the Opaula today. Made way too much water, so I'm actually gonna use the rest of it to make like a little bit of salt water and do a water change on the saltwater pond, just to get them going a little bit better. I think. Um, yeah, when you don't use, Opaula water changes that much, and you go to make a 10-gallon bucket, 2 cups of salt is way too much. And yeah, I don't know why I thought it wasn't going to be enough. So yeah, we kept some shrimp and I kept a couple snails, but that was it. So yeah, that's pretty much a good little update on what we've got going on. I don't see any questions in chat. I'm all caught up in chat. Shelby is busy packing for our Colorado trip. That is why she's not with us here tonight. But yeah, I think I'm going to call it at that. Next week, we may or may not have a live stream just because we'll be coming home from Colorado, maybe. We might be home. We might not be home. Depends if we have good reception on the road, if we're going to do a live stream or not. So we'll leave it up to that. And with that, I'll see you guys at the next one. Take care, everybody. Oh, one last one. The peacock bass were looking awesome. I used to do a pro-am bass fishing, but those peacock were so cool. I will never get bored of catching peacock bass. We went out with one of my friends, Mark. He's down south, and neither one of us were really familiar with the West Palm Beach. So we just kind of hit all of these little boat ramp spots around where the expo was in our hotel. And the first 3 weren't really that good. The kids went across the bridge with Mark to go check out the other side of the water, and they were already walking on the way back. So I was like, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to scare them. So I turned my light off. I stepped on a duck. I did not mean to. I would never want to step on a duck, but I tell you what, it did not sound like a duck when I stepped on it. It sounded, and by the way, the duck was just fine. The eggs were just fine. It was sitting on a nest, and that's why it didn't move. But I didn't like hurt it at all. But oh my god, it sounded like a bear when it went off. And there was people in the house that were right there on the canal, and they're all yelling at me, "Don't touch the duck!" And I'm like, "Listen, you don't need to worry about me. I'm not gonna mess with wildlife like that." Especially if one was sitting on a duck. I was just simply trying to scare my kids, like a little troll underneath the bridge kind of scenario. And yeah, it it did not go well. But so we decided to book it out of there, go to the next spot, and we're like, this is the last spot of the night. It's about to be midnight. Midnight would have been Layla's birthday, and I know she didn't want to be out there collecting anymore. The bugs were bad. And it wasn't really like a good, like nice kid-friendly spot to go collecting. So we ended up at this spot, and I'm on one side of the boat ramp, and Shelby and Mark are on the other. And I don't know if Mark had already caught a peacock bass or not, but Mark's had a nice, good old knob, like a little hump on the head, kind of like a flower horn has, and good night. They all have great coloration and pattern and stuff like that. But then it's a race between me and Shelby. Like that's honestly all that matters. I'm not trying to compete with the kid that lives down there and peacock bass fishes all the time. I'm just competing with Shelby. And I hear, "Oh, Shelby, you almost got one. There it is. There it is." And I'm working on one. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm not going to let her beat me." So I pull up on mine and I get it out of the water, and the dang thing jumps out of my net, and Shelby lands hers. And I'm like, "Oh my God, Shelby's going to beat me. I'm not going to." That probably just ruined my whole chance at catching a peacock bass out of this spot. But actually, no. Yeah. Shelby ended up landing hers. And I had gone over to a different spot, and I found a crawfish. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to catch this crawfish, and I'm going to use it as bait to get my peacock bass back. And I threw it out on the rocks, and the peacock bass came out for it, and I nabbed him. So Shelby caught one, but mine was bigger, and that's all that matters at the end of the night. So all three of us ended up catching peacock bass, but when we were trying to decide on where we were going to go, we asked, of course, the birthday girl on what she wanted to do and what she wanted to go collect. And she really wanted to go get reptiles like snakes and chameleons if we could have. And we were trying to figure out if we could go to this one spot. It ended up being like 2 hours away. And we're like, all right, we're not doing that. But before I caught my peacock bass, I ended up catching like the smallest green water snake ever. And it was very friendly. I got to hold it. The kids got to hold it. So the herping part of the night was accomplished, and it was a success. The peacock bass fishing was a success. We started off going after snakeheads, almost got a snakehead, but they spook real easy. So the fact that Shelby caught one like 2.5 foot is pretty gnarly. And yeah, I don't think I'll ever get bored of peacock bass fishing. They're a lot of fun. And then Johnny Best Grant is the Opa Ula shrimp setup. Is it easy? Yes, it is easy. It's basically like a Carradina style setup where you have to mix your salts and use a special substrate. But other than that, you don't need a heater. You don't need anything really special for them. You just have to make brackish water, and they do better on crushed coral. That's all. All right, everybody, I think that's going to do it. Johnny, we do have a video on the Opula setup too. I recommend checking that one out. So that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Thank you for sticking with me, and we'll see you in the next one. Later, yeah.